Hi, this is Gabby Berman, and this is my reflection for my unessay project. So, for my unessay, I chose to look at the Cahokia. Since we read the Cahokia book, it really interested me, and I wanted to learn even more about this ancient city that I had no idea even existed before reading this book. And so I just thought I picked this because, like I said, it's very interesting and I didn't know it existed. And it's right in the Midwest and near St. Louis. So I thought it was super interesting because I had never learned about it before. And I wanted to learn more about it since it was so close to where we are at Grandview. So I learned a lot through reading the book and through the more research. I learned more about like specific things while doing more research. So, for example, I found out the population at its most was between 10,200 people and 15,300 people. I just thought it was super interesting because I couldn't really tell how big the city actually was because they were saying it was very big, but that's actually kind of small compared to what it is today. So I didn't know like what size it actually was. So I wanted to learn more about that. And then for this project, I created an infographic poster sort of thing. And it's almost like trying to sell people to get them to try and learn more about Cahokia. So it leaves a little bit of mystery with it, but overall makes them pretty informed about it. So at the top, I have the title of my name, and then I say where it's located. So it's in Missouri. Population at its most is 10,200 to 15,300 people. The area is roughly 5.5 square miles. It's not exactly, but around there. And it was established, this is kind of iffy if you depend on the old Cahokia and the new Cahokia, but I just said 1050 AD because that was pretty much when they started to make the new Cahokia that grew into this large city. And then it fell in 1350 AD, so it lasted roughly 300 years. And then I said reasons to learn about this ancient city. So Cahokia was an ancient civilization on the Mississippi River near St. Louis. It grew quickly and was larger than London at the time of its peak. So London at the time when Cahokia was at its peak. And then Cahokian ways changed how ancient civilizations interacted with each other, as well as how like daily life even worked. It was such a large city that people had to work together to even survive and make sure everyone had enough food. And so they had the like farmers on the outsides, like the outskirts of the Cahokian city, and then they had like legislators or the like leaders in the beginning or in the middle of the city. And I thought that was kind of interesting because that's still what happens today. We have the farmers on the outskirts, so they have space to grow food in their fields, and then we have the people who like run the cities that are most likely going to be within the cities. So then it changed the way people lived. Like it's still affecting how we live today because like we still live the way they like reinvented everything. So then I chose 6 like main things to talk about. So I picked the mounds, artifacts, the city, growth, games, and then rituals. So I thought the rituals were very interesting because they like even included human sacrifice. And so I was trying to figure out like what exactly they did during these rituals. And then I also thought it was interesting how they've like wrapped people in the blankets like woven with shells, so that they were wrapped in shells once the blanket deteriorated. And then the games, I mentioned Chunky, which is the like rolling stick game, and how intense these games got and how people used or like gambled over this game. And the gambling got so intense that like they would offer themselves as slaves or offer their wives or their families. I thought that was so crazy because I mean it's just a game, but I guess they really wanted certain people to win or certain teams to win, which I understand, I guess, but maybe not to that point. And then growth, Cahokia like started pretty small, but then their population grew and they were a huge city for its time. And I thought that was super interesting. Like even people in New York and Arizona or New Mexico knew or had heard of this city and like wanted to come see it for themselves, so they packed everything up and came and saw it and moved here. And then the city, there was the old village and then the new village, and then they also made the Grand Plaza, which was the huge flat area in the town, which was there was nothing like it at the time. And then they also had the Woodhenge, which is the circle of wooden posts that are 25 feet tall, which was used in the rituals that we talked about earlier. And then artifacts, they found like pots, arrowhead, axes, shells, sculptures, and even the little discs that they used to play chunky. So all of these artifacts, I thought it was so interesting how archaeologists can like figure out what people back then did like on the daily basis just with these artifacts that they find. And then the mounds, I thought it was so like crazy that they had over 100 burial mounds, and a lot of them had like human remains in it, and that they used these to like bury people and artifacts and the different things. And I thought it was so crazy how the tallest one was around 99 feet tall. That just seems like it's super tall for people to carry like the material up to build it up that high. But yeah, overall I learned a lot about the Cahokia, and I thought it was super interesting how these people lived so many years ago and I didn't even know about it. So I thought it was really cool to learn about these people and what they did.